Well, the leaders of Europe's largest economy holding separate talks with 3 ASEAN leaders looking to ease trade dependence on China. German Chancellor Scholz is hosting Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, Philippine President Ferdinand Jr. and Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. After his meeting with Mr. Anwar yesterday, Mr. Scholz today received President Marcos. Several deals between Berlin and Manila are expected to be signed, more specifically on trade, jobs and education, and also on maritime cooperation, particularly with regards to managing tensions in the South China Sea. Just today, the Philippine military reported it spotted more than 50 Chinese military ships and fishing boats in disputed areas. Mr. Scholz is also due to host the Thai leader tomorrow. Trent Murray joins us live from Berlin with more. Trent, do we have further details on the commitments Germany is hoping to gain from ASEAN leaders?
Hello, Jill. Well, yeah, we've just been listening to some of it now. I'm here at the Chancellor in Germany, kind of the Berlin equivalent to the White House, if you will, where Chancellor Scholz is still actually giving his press statement with President Marcos. What we heard there, though, from Chancellor Scholz was a very clear commitment that Germany is looking to further involve itself and commit itself to countries within the Asia-Pacific. Now, we know there were a number of items on the agenda both today and also yesterday with Prime Minister Anwar of Malaysia around what some of those commitments look like, and they include things like trying to further trade and investment between both the EU and ASEAN members, as well as some of those more difficult questions around the upholding of international law, particularly in the South China Sea. Now, we saw today on that South China Sea point this new maritime agreement signed. It effectively carries on what Germany has already been doing. In fact, President Marcos just mentioned there the fact that Germany has been training members of the Philippines Defence Force since 1974. This agreement today will see more support for the Philippines Coast Guard. We've already seen drones handed over from Germany. That type of commitment is set to increase, it would appear, based on the announcement today. Also, a crucial agreement on immigration, the relaxing of rules. Chancellor Scholz described Filipino workers in Germany as an absolute treasure to the country's workforce. He even recited the fact that when he was a lawyer, he represented Philippine seafarers in a landmark union trial here. So an important moment. This is the first visit by a Philippines president to Germany in more than 10 years. We know from here President Marcos will travel over the border to the Czech Republic for a state visit there in Prague.
It's interesting, Trent, because as Germany does not intend to pivot entirely away from China, how does Berlin plan to balance those ties while supporting, as you mentioned, ASEAN countries, among them in their territorial disputes with Beijing?
Look, it is a very difficult balancing act, I think, for Berlin, and I think even Chancellor Scholz would admit that himself, and that is because China does remain Germany's most important trading partner. In fact, the country's most probably successful export market, motor vehicles. Well, 1 in 3 German-made cars is sold to a Chinese driver. In saying that, we are seeing Berlin increasingly being more vocal towards some of those concerns in the region, particularly around the South China Sea. And what you are seeing, I think, is Germany also leaning into the broader European Union position. I mean, the German foreign policy as it relates to China describes Beijing as a partner for cooperation, an economic competitor and a systemic rival. So I think this 3 days of visit that you're seeing here from these ASEAN countries is an effort by Chancellor Scholz to kind of diversify, if you will, some of Berlin's trading relationships to make sure that Europe's biggest economy doesn't become just too dependent on China.
Trent Murray talking to us live from Berlin. Thank you.